everyone, it's Jenny here from The Bear and the Fox, and today I wanted to share our favourite picture books about flying with you. First up we have Zog and the Flying Doctors, which is a follow-up to the book Zog, and I'm always surprised how many people don't know that there is a sequel to Zog. So at the end of Zog, the first book, Princess Pearl and Sir Gadabout the Great had teamed up to become a team of doctors, and Zog had offered himself as their flying ambulance. So in Zog and the Flying Doctors, this is them having their adventures as the Flying Doctors crew, and they help all kinds of creatures. So here they are approaching, and they're going to help this mermaid who is suffering from very serious sunburn. And then they help a unicorn with 2 horns who isn't feeling very happy, and a bunch of other creatures as well. And then they end up visiting Pearl's uncle, who happens to be the king, and he doesn't think that girls should be doctors, so he locks her up in a tower and tries to force her to be a princess. But then he gets ill and she saves his life with the help of Zog and Gadabout, and in the end he admits that he was wrong and he lets her be a doctor again. And then they fly off again, the Flying Doctors crew, to go and help some more sick people and creatures. So that's Zog and the Flying Doctors. Next up we have Those Magnificent Sheep in Their Flying Machine, and this book features a bunch of flying sheep, which my boys think is hilarious. So what happens is that there's an air display near the field where these sheep live, and they go and investigate, and they find this unattended plane, and they get inside, just have a wee sit, see what it feels like, and then they accidentally make the plane start, and they go, well, let's just roll with it, and they end up flying around the world. Here they are flying through France, and they go through lots of other places. India, where they almost end up as mutton, and Egypt, and eventually they start missing home, so they fly back to their field and leave the plane where they found it. And then when the owner of the plane comes to investigate, he's trying to catch the thieves in white sweaters that made off with his plane. All he sees is a field full of sheep, and he cannot for the life of himself explain what happened, and I don't think he will ever find out. So this is a really funny book. I'm sure you will enjoy. Next up we have quite an unusual flying story, at least I think it's unusual, because it features a hot air balloon, and I've not come across that many hot air balloons in all the picture books that we have read. It's called The Start of Something Big, a hot air balloon adventure story, and it was very kindly sent to us by Anahita, the author, and this is actually the first in a series of hot air balloon adventure stories. I think there's 3 published so far, and we were kindly sent the first 2, so the second in the series is called The Perfect Rainy Day. And these stories are about a trio of cousins, Hannah, Alice and Rosie, and in the very first book they find this old hot air balloon in their grandma's shed, and they repair it, and then they fly away with it and have some fantastic adventures. So in the first story they actually go and visit their grandma, who's quite surprised to see them coming in the hot air balloon. And in the second book, The Perfect Rainy Day, they're deciding where to fly. Here they are, thinking about what to do because it's pouring with rain outside, and they decide to fly to Tanzania to go and see some giraffes. And lo and behold, they make it all the way to Tanzania in their hot air balloon, and they see the giraffes that they wanted to see. And I'm not going to give away what happens after that, but they do have quite a bit of an adventure. All's well that ends well. So these books are great because they feature some strong, fearless girls, and as you may or may not know, I'm mum to 2 boys, but I like to read a mixture of picture books with them, and I think it's really important that they have some strong female protagonists as role models as well, because quite a lot of picture books have male main characters rather than female main characters. So I think it's great that this is a new series with a trio of really strong girls who go out and have lots of fantastic adventures. And The illustrations are really beautiful as well. They're quite unusual. They've got this sort of pencil texture, and we really loved reading these. And as I said, there's a third book out in the series. I believe it's a wintry story. We haven't read that one yet. And also, you can read the books in German. So Anahita also very kindly, because she knows that we're a bilingual family, sent us a copy of the first book in German too. So Der erste Flug, ein Heißluftballon-Abenteuer. So those are the hot air balloon adventure stories, and I really urge you to go and check those out. And thank you very, very much, Anahita, for sending us your beautiful books. It was a pleasure to read and review them. Next, we have Lindbergh, die abenteuerliche Geschichte einer fliegenden Maus. As you may have gathered, we have this in German, but there is also an English edition. So it's Lindbergh, the adventurous story of a flying mouse. It might have a slightly different title in English, I'm not 100% sure, but you can definitely get it in English. So this is the story of a little mouse who one day wakes up and all the other mice are gone, and he can't figure out what happened to them. But he thinks that this new invention has something to do with it. And he's heard about this faraway place called America, and he thinks that some of the mice may have gone there on big ships, but all the ships are now being guarded by cats, so it's impossible for mice to get on the ships anymore. So he decides to build a flying machine to get to America. And for a little mouse, he is quite good at building flying machines. So he goes through various different stages, but eventually, success! The little mouse manages to build an airplane that takes it all the way to America, where it is reunited with all its little mousy friends. And at the very end of the book, I really like this bit, at the very end of the book, there is a poster advertising a new air show featuring the courageous flying mouse. And there is a little boy who's holding an aeroplane who's reading this poster. And this little boy was Charles Lindbergh. So that kind of sets the scene for a bit of aviation history. And then at the very, very end of the book, there's also a little bit of information about some of the pioneers of flying. So Otto Lilienthal, the brothers Wright, and of course Charles Lindbergh himself, who this book is named after. So this is a really lovely book with absolutely gorgeous illustrations. It's maybe for slightly older children. It's got quite a bit of text. So my youngest, who's 4.5, he will sit through this. So it depends a little bit on your child's attention span, but it is absolutely gorgeous, and I think you will love this. And last but not least, we have Amelia Earhart from the Little People Big Dreams series. Now, this is actually a non-fiction picture book about the true story of Amelia Earhart and how she became a pioneer in aviation. So here she is as a little girl, and then here she is as a young woman flying in an airplane. And here it talks about how she founded a club for other female aviators, and so she ends up flying across the Atlantic all by herself. And then it talks about the tragic end to her story when she tried to fly across the Pacific and was never heard of again. And then at the very back of the book, there are some actual photos of Amelia Earhart and a little bit more about her life story. So you can use that to talk to your kids about Amelia Earhart. And this is from a series of books all about famous people from history. So Amelia Earhart is one of our favourites. We've got a couple, and she's one of our favourites. And that was it. Those were some of our favourite picture books about flying. As always, you can find all the author names and book titles over on my blog, and I will see you next time. Happy reading. Bye!